There is a certain cruelty in the way the universe treats souls that refuse to accept anything less than the truth. You've felt that, haven't you? The strange pain when everyone around seems to find love easily while you still hang between desire and discernment. This is not punishment. This is preparation. What you're about to discover will illuminate why some souls must endure what feels like cosmic delay, why love seems to evade those who need it most deeply, and how this apparent denial serves a far greater purpose than mere comfort. The universe doesn't deny love to rare souls. It refines them until they become worthy vessels for a connection that transcends ordinary human experience. Drawing from Jung's archetypes of the self and the unconscious mind's quest for wholeness, Jung understood that some individuals carry within them an innate rejection of the superficial, a cellular-level resistance to relationships that merely fill voids instead of expanding consciousness. These souls cannot pretend satisfaction where none exists, cannot manufacture chemistry through willpower, cannot convince themselves that partial understanding means true companionship. They are condemned to authenticity, blessed with standards that often feel like chains. Before such souls can receive their true partner, they must undergo what seems like a series of cosmic trials. These are not arbitrary challenges designed by a hostile universe, but necessary journeys that strip away everything false, everything borrowed, everything that prevents the soul from recognizing its true reflection when it finally appears. Echoing Jung's process of individuation, where the shadow must be integrated for genuine self-realization, each trial serves to reveal what still needs healing, which patterns still need breaking, which illusions still cloud the inner vision. The first initiation comes in the form of unbearable solitude, not the voluntary solitude of retreat or reflection, but an imposed isolation until every available option feels empty. When every potential partner speaks a language your soul cannot translate, you find yourself surrounded by people yet utterly alone, watching others form what appear to be genuine connections while you remain unable to access a similar frequency. This solitude is not evidence of your inadequacy, it is proof of your specificity. Jung would call this the necessary separation from the collective unconscious, the painful but essential process of discerning what is truly yours versus what you've inherited from family, culture, or circumstance. Confronting the archetypes that shape your everyday struggles with belonging and self-discovery. Rare souls must learn to distinguish between their authentic desires and conditioned expectations, between genuine attraction and the pull of familiar dysfunctions. The universe enforces this solitude until you stop trying to force your vast essence into relationships designed for smaller dreams. During this period, you may notice how others seem to navigate love with ease, how they meet, merge, and move forward without the existential weight that accompanies your every romantic consideration. You begin to wonder if there's something fundamentally flawed in your makeup, if your inability to feel satisfied with available options represents a character defect rather than a strength. The universe remains silent during these moments of self-doubt, neither confirming nor denying your fears, simply holding space for you to explore the difference between being difficult and being discerning. As Jung's ideas on the persona remind us of the masks we wear in midlife before embracing deeper unconscious truths. This phase teaches you that solitude and silence are not synonymous. Solitude is the ache of longing for connection. Silence is the space where your bond with yourself deepens. Rare souls must learn to dwell in silence without despair, using this time not as a waiting room, but as a laboratory for self-discovery. The universe watches to see if you'll maintain your standards or crumble under the fear that upholding them means eternal aloneness. As you navigate this territory, you begin to understand that your silence serves a specific function. It acts as a filter, ensuring that when connection arrives, it stems from genuine recognition rather than desperate salvation. Those who rush to fill the void often find themselves in relationships that recreate the very isolation they sought to escape. surrounded by someone who cannot see them, cannot meet them, cannot match the depth of their authentic expression, highlighting Jung's warnings about the shadow's role in sabotaging true intimacy. The second challenge emerges more subtly, often disguised as exactly what you've been seeking. Into the silence you've carefully cultivated steps someone who seems to understand your language, who appears to recognize your depth, who awakens every center of longing you've guarded. This person carries an almost supernatural ability to see through your defenses, speaking directly to your most sheltered hopes, making you feel both exposed and safe. Jung would identify this figure as the activation of your anima or animus, the unconscious projection of your ideal masculine or feminine archetype onto another person. This person doesn't love you. They love what you represent to their unconscious needs. Similarly, what you experience as love for them is often love for the parts of yourself they reflect back to you. Connecting to the everyday struggle of distinguishing projection from genuine connection in midlife self-realization. This connection feels fated, inevitable, cosmically designed, yet it carries within it the seeds of its own dissolution. This challenge reveals whether you've learned to distinguish between true intimacy and psychological projection, between being seen and being idealized, between love and the temporary healing of old wounds through another's attention. The person who appears in this phase often carries an almost mystical quality, seeming to understand you in ways that feel miraculous after so much disconnection. They may share your interests, mirror your values, or possess qualities that complement your essence so perfectly that the relationship feels like destiny rather than choice. Drawing on Jung's archetypes to explain these profound yet illusory attractions, the allure of this connection lies not in its intensity but in its apparent fitness. Unlike obviously problematic attractions, this person seems genuinely compatible, genuinely interested, genuinely desirous of knowing who you are beneath your protective layers. The danger isn't that they'll harm you intentionally, but that they'll love you incompletely, seeing only the aspects of your essence that serve their psychological needs while remaining blind to your full humanity. The universe poses this challenge to see if you've developed the capacity to recognize love that comes with conditions, appreciation, contingent on your ability to stay within certain parameters. Acceptance that requires you to minimize inconvenient aspects of your truth. This person may adore your sensitivity but withdraw from your intensity, value your depth but grow uncomfortable with your complexity, cherish your uniqueness but expect you to temper it when it becomes inconvenient. As Jung's shadow work teaches us to confront these hidden resistances, if you accept this partial love, if you convince yourself that being understood in fragments is enough, if you adjust your expression to maintain the connection, the universe won't punish you. It simply allows you to experience the slow erosion of self that accompanies any relationship where your wholeness threatens another's comfort. You learn through direct experience why settling for mediocrity is akin to spiritual suicide, why compromising essential aspects of yourself creates a partnership that feels like sophisticated loneliness rather than genuine companionship. The third initiation often proves the most formidable because it requires you to recognize and dismantle the ways you sabotage your own happiness. Linking to Jung's insights on the unconscious mind's role in self-defeating patterns during the journey toward individuation. As a truly compatible person begins to edge into your life, as the universe prepares to deliver what you've sought, your psychological defenses often activate with unexpected force. Suddenly, you find reasons why this person might not fit, evidence that the timing is wrong, fears that allowing hope will only lead to deeper disappointment. Jung understood that the psyche often resists precisely what it needs most, especially when that need threatens to disrupt familiar patterns of self-protection. If you've grown accustomed to your solitude, if you've built your identity around being misunderstood, if you've organized your life around the assumption that genuine companionship isn't available to you, then the arrival of true possibility can feel more threatening than its absence. Your shadow begins to whisper warnings, creating doubt where certainty should be growing, manufacturing problems where none exist. This self-sabotage takes various forms. You might find yourself comparing this new person to an unattainable ideal, measuring their reality against the fantasy you created in isolation. You may interpret their genuine interest as temporary infatuation, their consistency as eventual disappointment, and their acceptance as proof they don't yet truly understand you. You might begin behaving in ways designed to test their loyalty, unconsciously pushing them away to see if they'll fight to stay, creating conflict to determine if they can handle your complexity. Reflecting Jung's archetypes of the trickster in our unconscious sabotage of relationships, the universe doesn't intervene during this self-sabotage phase. It allows you to explore whether you're truly prepared for companionship or merely attached to the nobility of your pain. This test reveals if you can recognize genuine goodness when it appears, if you can receive love without immediately questioning its authenticity, if you can risk disappointment for the possibility of real connection. Many rare souls fail this test not because they lack courage, but because they've become so adept at self-protection that they can't distinguish between wisdom and fear, between healthy caution and destructive safeguarding. They push away precisely what they've sought, often realizing their mistake only after the opportunity has passed, only after the one willing to see them has moved on to someone capable of being seen. As Jung's shadow integration warns us about these hidden self-betrayals in midlife, the fourth test involves completely recalibrating your vibrational frequency. The universe requires you to release not just obvious toxic patterns, but also seemingly positive attachments that no longer serve your evolution. This might mean ending friendships that keep you stuck in old versions of yourself, leaving environments that support your limitations rather than your growth, or surrendering identities that feel comfortable but restrict your authentic expression. Jung called this process individuation, the sometimes painful journey of becoming yourself, rather than who you've been shaped to be. For rare souls, this phase often requires releasing the victim narrative that's provided meaning to their pain, the specialness derived from being misunderstood, the identity built around being different from those who seem to love more easily, connecting everyday struggles to the unconscious drive for wholeness. You must relinquish the story that your difficulties make you superior, that your sensitivity grants privilege, that your depth justifies resistance to vulnerability. This recalibration demands brutal honesty about the ways you've contributed to your own isolation, the ways you've used your legitimate wounds to justify keeping yourself closed, the ways you've hidden behind your authenticity to avoid the risks of real intimacy. The universe doesn't ask you to become someone else, but to become fully yourself, releasing even those aspects of your personality that feel justified but ultimately separate you from love. During this phase, you may find yourself naturally drifting away from people, situations, and habits that once felt essential to your identity. Conversations that once energized you begin to feel draining. Environments that once felt like home start to feel confining. Activities that once brought joy begin to feel hollow. This isn't depression. It's alignment, your inner compass being recalibrated to point toward what truly serves your growth rather than what's merely comfortable for your familiar patterns. Drawing from Jung's ideas on the archetypes, guiding our path to self-realization, the universe watches to see if you can trust this natural pruning process, if you can let relationships and circumstances depart without clinging, if you can maintain your integrity, even when it means standing alone. This test determines whether you've developed the capacity to choose authenticity over approval, truth over comfort, alignment over security. As you navigate this recalibration, you begin to emit a different kind of energy. People respond to you differently. Opportunities appear that previously seemed unavailable. Your entire reality begins to shift to match your new vibrational frequency. The universe hasn't changed what it offers. You've changed your capacity to recognize and receive what was always available, embodying Jung's principle of synchronicity, where the unconscious mind aligns external events with inner growth. The final test before the arrival of a true partner involves surrendering the very thing you've sought. This paradox confounds many rare souls. The universe requires you to stop desperately seeking love before it will deliver love, to release attachment to relationship before relationship becomes possible, to find fulfillment within yourself before you can experience true union with another. This surrender isn't defeat, but the triumph of becoming whole. Jung understood that individuation leads to a state where you no longer need another to complete you, but desire someone with whom to share your completeness. This shift from need to desire, from seeking to offering, from grasping to allowing represents the final preparation for soul-level partnership, offering timeless advice for those in midlife transitioning from persona roles to authentic self-expression. When you reach this state, you stop scanning every room for potential partners. Stop analyzing every interaction for romantic possibility. Stop measuring your worth through relationship status. You begin living as if you're already complete, already loved, already exactly where you need to be. This isn't denial or spiritual bypassing, but the natural outcome of integrating all the lessons the previous trials were designed to teach. The universe observes this final surrender because it indicates your readiness to love without attachment, to connect without losing yourself, to give without depleting your resources. Only when you no longer need love can you truly receive it. Only when you stop searching can you recognize what's been seeking you. As Jung's archetypes reveal the unconscious patterns that guide us toward meaningful connections, only when you become fully yourself can you attract someone who loves you exactly as you are. This state creates a magnetic field that draws toward you, not just anyone seeking partnership, but specifically someone operating at a similar frequency of wholeness, someone who's undergone their own sequence of trials and transformations, someone capable of meeting you at the depth you require. The universe doesn't send you someone to heal your wounds, but someone to celebrate your healing. Not someone to fill your missing pieces, but someone to honor your wholeness when such a person appears. The recognition is immediate and undeniable. No need to convince yourself of compatibility. No overlooking red flags. No adjusting your expectations. Connecting deeply to Jung's vision of integrated selves in relationship, the connection feels more natural than effortful, more peaceful than chaotic, more expansive than restrictive. You recognize each other not as strangers becoming familiar, but as familiar souls meeting in physical form. This recognition comes not with the intensity of projection, but with the calm certainty of truth. There's no desperate grasping, no fear of loss, no need to possess or control. You both understand that what you've found together exists independent of circumstances, that your connection transcends the temporary arrangements of human relationships, that you can love each other completely while remaining fully yourselves. The arrival of authentic partnership for rare souls often lacks the dramatic intensity that characterizes projection-based connections. Instead of fireworks, there's recognition. Instead of obsession, there's peace. Instead of needing to prove compatibility, there's the simple knowledge that you speak the same language at the deepest level. You find yourself able to be completely yourself without fear that your authenticity will scare them away. Without needing to monitor their reactions or adjust your expression, Jung would describe this as the meeting of two individuated souls, two people who've done enough of their own psychological work to engage in relationship without losing themselves, without requiring the other to fulfill unmet childhood needs, without projecting unconscious material onto each other, providing profound insight for midlife self-discovery. This type of relationship supports the ongoing evolution of both individuals rather than stunting their growth for the sake of security or comfort. The universe that once seemed to deny you love now reveals its wisdom, Each trial was necessary preparation. Each delay was perfect timing. Each disappointment was protection from settling for less than what your soul could recognize as home. In the end, you understand that you weren't being punished but honed, not rejected but prepared, not overlooked but carefully nurtured for this exact moment of realization. Rare souls discover, in authentic companionship, that love doesn't diminish their uniqueness but amplifies it. It doesn't require them to become smaller but invites them to expand, doesn't demand they compromise their truth but honors their courage in living it. They find someone who not only accepts their depth but matches it, not only tolerates their intensity but thrives in it, not only understands their complexity but cherishes its beauty. Echoing Jung's archetypes in the unconscious pursuit of balanced union, the partnership that emerges from this foundation operates on different principles than connections based on need. Habit, or societal expectation. Both remain whole individuals, choosing in each moment to share their wholeness with each other. There's space for solitude within the relationship, room for personal growth alongside shared evolution, capacity to disagree without threatening the fundamental bond. This union becomes a sanctuary where both souls can continue becoming more themselves rather than a prison where they must pretend to be someone more acceptable. The love that flows between them serves their highest evolution rather than their lowest fears, supports their authentic expression rather than their defensive strategies, nourishes their individual purposes rather than merging them into a combined identity that serves neither. If you recognize yourself in this journey, if you've endured the trials of solitude, projection, self-destruction, recalibration, and surrender, then you understand why the universe requires such preparation. As Jung's shadow work illuminates these paths to deeper connection, you're being prepared not for ordinary love but for extraordinary union, not for conventional relationship, but for conscious merging, not for someone to complete you, but for someone to celebrate your completeness. The path has been longer than you expected, harder than you imagined, more transformative than you could have conceived. But every step has served to ensure that when love arrives, you'll recognize it, embrace it, and give from a place of strength rather than need, from wholeness rather than emptiness, from choice rather than desperation. The universe hasn't forgotten you. It has been preparing you for exactly what your soul has been seeking. Take a moment to reflect on your own journey, on the trials you've overcome, on the growth you've achieved, even when it felt like stagnation. Consider how each challenge has contributed to your capacity for authentic relationship, how each disappointment has refined your ability to recognize genuine connection, how each moment of solitude has deepened your bond with yourself. Your willingness to endure this process, to trust the timing, even when it made no sense, to maintain your standards, even when it seemed easier to lower them, demonstrates the rare courage required for soul-level partnership. You've been prepared not just to seek love, but to be worthy of the love that can truly see you, meet you, and match you at every level of existence. Drawing from Jung's timeless wisdom on the unconscious mind's role in self-realization, if this resonates with your experience, if you see your journey reflected in these words, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What trials have you overcome? What have you learned about yourself in the process? How has this journey prepared you for the love you seek? Your insights might illuminate the path for another soul undergoing similar preparation. If you found value in this exploration, subscribe for more content on the depths of love, relationships, and the extraordinary journey of becoming yourself.